Hey guys, I'm Matt, the South Coast Kook. I'm just a kook that loves to talk about everything surfing. And today on the show, I've got Geordie and Kimberly from Independent Surfer. How you guys going?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having us.
No worries. I'll let you give you a little introduction, like about yourselves.
Cool. You want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So my name's Kimberly. I have been surfing for only about 6 years now. I actually only started surfing when I was 24, so a little bit later in life, but got super into it and started surfing like 4 to 6 hours a day, moved to California and then Indonesia. And I actually work full-time remotely at a corporate job, so have a little bit of that balance and mix in life right now.
Yeah, sweet.
Cool. So yeah, as you said, Geordie, I'm actually originally from South Africa, but not many people think that I'm from South Africa because like I kind of adopted a bit of an accent since I've been in Indo. I've been in Indo for about 3 or 4 years now, and originally came over as a surf instructor and ended up actually getting involved in a surf camp like financially just before COVID, which was a bit of a bummer, but so that was a really interesting experience. And then after that, yeah, so COVID kind of pushed us to do this whole thing that we're doing now. And then we ended up going back to South Africa, coming back here. But I've been surfing for and bodyboarding for like the last 15 years, I guess. So,
Yeah,
drawing from
sweet.
that knowledge. Yeah.
So what made you go to Indo from South Africa?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? Our internet's so bad, man.
What made you go to Indo from South Africa?
Oh, it's a good question. Like, I mean, I guess as a surfer, like you think about Indonesia as like just surfing Mecca, right? And it's just like where everybody wants to end up. And I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do after school, and I wasn't quite sure. And so like I took a gap year and I started doing some studies, and then I kind of like fell into the surf coaching thing. And after that, I was like, okay, like I kind of want to broaden my horizons. Like I haven't traveled that much. I've only really been between South Africa and here, but I was like, okay, well, let me try and go and work for a surf camp abroad. And then I ended up applying to a few places, but I got picked up pretty quickly by this camp here in Lombok. And I was like, well, it's a perfect opportunity. Like, why not take it? And so I jumped straight onto it. It was actually really interesting. The first day I got here was like an absolutely terrible experience. The camp that I ended up at is like how would you say, it's quite basic, and the accommodation is super basic and stuff. And so my experience that I had falling into it, especially coming in the rainy season, because it can be quite intimidating. Like the mosquitoes and the temperature and stuff, coming from a place that's not usually as hot as it is here. So my transition into here was pretty hard actually, but then after that it just got better and better.
Yeah. Have you ever looked back and gone, man, I should probably just go back, or you're happy where you are?
Pretty happy where we are. As Kim said earlier, like we're working on getting a fiance visa for me to go to the US, so we should be able to go for an interview pretty soon. And then we actually just acquired some land here in Lombok, so we're pretty interested in like building our place here and stuff like that, and kind of like setting deeper roots.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Good on you guys.
Thanks.
What boards do you ride?
So I ride right now, actually we got custom surfboards made for us in South Africa from a shaper there, Matt Surfboards. Right now my board is a 5'8", 18 and a half, and 2 1/4. Traditional shortboard shape. And the really cool thing about it, well, there's two things. One is I actually have a little bit of a problem where I have too much back foot pressure. I struggle to have enough front foot pressure. So we chatted with the shaper a little bit and decided to put some extra foam in the tail of the board to help kind of even that out. So it's going super good. And it's also painted like pink, kind of maybe Carissa Moore color pink. So I'm really stoked with that.
Yeah, very like most people go opt for the foam up the front for the paddle. So it's good that you've got that inside knowledge with I'm assuming like you're bouncing off each other, and that's where you sort of came to.
Yeah, it's funny actually, because the shaping aspect, like boards have never been like our forte, I would say. Like it's been pretty interesting to work with the shaper and like learn a little bit more. And we'll get into it later, I'm sure. But one of our new courses that we're going to come out with is pretty much in-depth information onto like, you know, different shapes and stuff like that. But right now I'm riding it's a 5.9, probably 18 and a half, and like 2.25. So pretty
Sounds
nice.
good to me.
Yeah, yeah, something around there, and it's the same matte surfboards. He gave us a really good deal. So the boards are getting expensive, man. Like it's it's getting pretty crazy. I can imagine, especially in Australia. Like
you're looking around about the $1,000 mark. Like yeah. And that's not fins or anything. That's just straight up board. Depends on where you go as well. You know, if you get a custom and stuff, obviously more, less, depending on. But yeah, about $1,000.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So what board are you riding? How long have you been surfing, man?
Oh, I've been surfing. I'm relatively new, probably 6 years.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I've got like everything under the sun, from like your shortboards to your longboards. Really throwing myself into shortboarding at the moment. Ride a sharp eye, loving it. But hey, like I just went on a little trip and had a 9.8 log and really enjoyed like getting into the longboarding. So I just froth surfing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would love to have a longboard, but it's just we travel too much. We're not settled, and to travel with like you know, a 5.8 is one thing, but to fly with a 9.6 log is just a whole nother.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that. So one day we'll have it.
It's handy to have, but it's yeah, I feel like it's hard. Like I enjoy doing it, but I wouldn't say like I get up in the morning and I'm like, I want to ride my log. You know what I mean? Like where the shortboard, it's like, but hey, I know heaps of people that rip on logs. So yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to get back to it every once in a while.
For sure.
To be on the log.
Sure. So do you have a best wave of your life? Is there a wave that sort of stands out that just sticks in the mind?
So I know for Kim, it's pretty simple. I don't know if you want to take that one first.
Do you mean like a specific surf spot, or like a specific memory of surfing a particular wave?
Well, let's go both. What's your favorite surf spot and particular memory that sort of sticks in your head?
Oh, for me, it's so simple. This wave dawned on here where we live in Lombok. This is like we just bought land in front of that wave. It's an A-frame. It breaks left and right. It's almost like a wave pool sometimes. There can be days where it's not working. It doesn't always work if the swell's not big enough, but when there is swell, it's just like a mechanical wave. And so you can practice, you can really like hone in like minor nuances in your technique. You know, you have that opportunity, you know what the wave's gonna do, so you can, you know, change your hand or change your foot positioning or have that really insight into what you're doing. So I just absolutely love that wave. It's amazing.
Yeah, sick.
That's cool. Yeah. So I'd say, yeah, like in terms of like performance surfing, it's definitely like, I think Kim was comparing it much to like lower trestles. It's like quite similar in that sense. So if that gives you some sort of like insight as to what it might look like. But
super lucky that you bought land right in front of it.
Yeah.
For probably like 1/10 the price of California, and maybe with 1/100th of the people. So
nice.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. But I would say like towards the end of COVID last year, we ended up spending some time in South Sumatra, in an area called Krui. And we stayed in front of this wave called Ujung Bocor. They just had like one of the QS events there. And it is like we're both goofy footers. And it's just like a reeling left that runs, I mean, for 200 meters. We were just like waking up, walking out past the patch of grass and up the point and just like surfing there all day. So I would say like, if there was any other place in the world, it would probably be there. Yeah. And I think the beauty of it as well was like, I mean, most days we were like the only people in the lineup. It was just so totally uncrowded. It was ridiculous.
The middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. So pretty lucky. Yeah.
Crazy. So you've touched a couple, but any other places you've surfed overseas?
For me, no, actually. Like it's mostly been in Indonesia. Like I said before, like I haven't traveled much between countries. And Kim, I guess, only started surfing.
Oh, we did surf. We went to South Africa actually we were there for 6 months, about 3 months ago, and we surfed a bunch of different spots in South Africa while we were there. We stopped at J-Bay. We did a little bit of Cape Town. It was super cold for us, so we struggled a little bit. Like we were wearing 4 threes, hoods, gloves, and booties.
It just feels like a different sport, right? Like when it's like that, yeah, it's incomparable.
Mhm.
Crazy. Well, let's talk about why I've got you on the show now. So, independent surfer, what is it?
Dude, that's such an interesting question. Yeah, it's just a platform for people to learn to surf. We kind of figured after COVID started, well, actually, we started this whole thing as soon as COVID started happening, but because we've been doing everything ourselves, it just took such a long time. And back then we figured like, oh, you know, everyone's going to be stuck at home, but how nice would it be to still be able to learn to surf online while you're stuck at home or not able to travel and surf and still kind of get that experience. But then since then, it's just become a way for us to give our knowledge to other people and make it accessible to a lot of people. And yeah,
so right now we have one full surf course out. It's our beginner course. We spent maybe like a year to 2 years filming it, editing it, writing it all ourselves. It's a really comprehensive course. I think it includes like 43 sections and quizzes, little parts where we ask people for their feedback and for kind of like a journal, asking people to describe their surf experience and to reflect on certain things from that section of the course. So really fulsome course, and we're going to be coming out with an intermediate and advanced course pretty soon. So really hard at work.
Pretty soon. I don't know if I would jump ahead and say pretty soon, but it will come at some point. It's just so much to do, man. I'm sure you know, like having a podcast and stuff, and I'm not sure what else you do, but I'm sure there's loads of stuff that you have on your plate. So things get pretty busy.
I've got a list a mile long. And hey, look, the course that you put out, like I've gone through bits and pieces of it, looked through it, looks really good, guys. Like it's a good piece of work that you're putting together. So congratulations on releasing it.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. It's been sorry.
There's a lot of people that have these pipe dreams and they just don't put pen to paper. So yeah, good on you for doing it.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
So you're both surf coaches, or Geordie, you mostly the sort of brains behind it?
Yeah, I guess so. Kim's the bank. Kim's the bank. I'm the brains.
I'm the bank, and I did all the website design, creating the whole website. A lot of the design, proofreading, a lot of the behind the scenes, boring tech side of stuff. And Geordie has all the great ideas and the creativity.
But you're the model as well. You're in a couple of the videos.
Yeah, I did some of the speaking and the recording as well.
So the biggest advantage of learning to surf online, what is it?
Well, I feel like it's a lot in surfing, like this, it's hard to find a lot of information. And I feel like having access to that information all the time makes it really beneficial. Like you can always just sure, there's a bunch of YouTube videos out there that you can continue to look at, and bits and pieces of information that you can research online. But I feel like having all of that information detailed in a specific course format and like kind of structured, makes it easy for people to have access to and be able to keep going back to it and then follow it as a specific like start and end point, So yeah, I think it's just, I would say that like having access to that information as opposed to, like having to constantly pay for a surf coach to take you out or go to a surf camp to continue to reiterate that information. That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, for sure.
Yeah. So and yeah, as I said before, it's like an outlet for us,
Yeah, for sure. So what skill level do you have to be? Like the beginner course, how beginner are we talking? Are we talking you just walking off the street?
Yeah, total beginner. We've covered everything from like safety to selecting a board, knowing when to paddle out. Of course, we maybe recommend that people, maybe go out with a friend or an instructor for their very first lesson. Of course, there's only so much that you can learn online, for that very first time and just getting comfortable, knowing what you're doing with the board. sorry, our internet connection's a little interesting in Indonesia, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like we're not trying to advocate for people to completely go out and do it themselves. It's always important, I think, to, you know, like have the safety of an instructor out there and kind of show you the ropes in the beginning. But yeah, for sure, like having that, like you can literally walk off the street as Kim was saying, but yeah, you can literally walk off the street, take the course, and then have everything you need to know up until a certain point, of course. Like that's why it's a beginner course. And we couldn't fit all the information of, you know, learning to surf because there's so much, like it's just so endless. So yeah, pretty much start till hopefully be able to get people into a space where they can like stand up on the board and start to maneuver the board, catch waves by themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like your course would pair very nicely to people that are doing like instructor training or learning with a friend. Like I know myself, I'm self-taught, like I said, did it 6 years or whatever. And I know that watching some of your videos, it was just a bit of oh, I've been doing it sort of this way for so long, like maybe I should be tweaking it slightly, if that makes sense. So like, yeah, your course is catered for a beginner, but I'm sure people that surf a lot can still benefit from it to fine tune those finer details, you know?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things, like as well as like you said, that like after teaching for a long time, is a lot of people just need that like confirmation. And sometimes it's like people are doing the right thing, but they just aren't sure because nobody's like come to them and like confirmed that like this is the right thing that you're doing. And so yeah, I definitely think that like even who's been surfing for a little bit would definitely be able to like benefit from some of the information. And even though that maybe they're still doing the right thing, that it's just that bit of confirmation, you know?
Or knowing why you're doing something. I think there's a big difference between feeling like, oh, this seems right on the board, I'm able to get down the line, versus maybe knowing why you're putting your foot there and what it's setting you up for. Having that like solid foundation. If you're making a little mistake at the beginner level, then it can be really hard to progress to obviously like the intermediate and the advanced level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like it's such a good course and so like refreshing for the mind, you know what I mean, just to sort of get back together. But this also pairs very nicely into like the other stuff that you do with like video analysis, one-on-one Zoom chats. So like, yeah, if you want to spruik that a bit, go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, the concept there is just be able to have access whenever you need it. And I mean, in general, like video review is literally the best thing that you can do for learning to surf. There's no substitute. I mean, even photos, like at the camp that I've worked at, because we go out on boats to surf, the stability of being able to film people with video sessions is quite hard. So we actually do a lot of photo reviews. And even from that, like people, like the level of progression is like insane. So yeah, I would advocate, like, you know, like that's what we're trying to do, is just because like that is, you can go through all this information, but to have somebody who kind of like, you know, knows what they're doing, to sit and watch and then tell you, it's just way quicker for you to be able to cover those points. And then with the presentations, like
the surf classes,
like yeah, there's just so much outside information that isn't spoken about, you know, whether it's talking about, you know, how waves are created and how they break, and like understanding tides and all that stuff, understanding how to read forecasts, because like, you know, you always want to be able to go and surf when the conditions are the best. And I just feel like a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but especially people who are getting into the sport, they don't understand that, like, you know, like there's better conditions versus worse conditions. Or as another example, like one of our online classes is we go through understanding the lineup. So it touches on, you know, the way people behave in the lineup, their psychology, why they make the decisions that they make, and how you can kind of like be able to navigate yourself in a crowded environment, because like the lineups are becoming so much more crowded these days, right? Like, and that's just a whole nother thing within itself. Like being able to go surf by yourself is one thing, but then being able to go and surf with like 100 other people out. And I can only imagine that, that like being in Australia, the line is actually so crowded.
Yeah,
So,
COVID has just increased the surfing population by a lot. Like everyone just learned how to surf or learned how to play the guitar during the pandemic. So.
Those things go pretty hand in hand, eh?
They do.
Actually, add one more. If I could actually add one more thing too, to like the photo review and the video analysis aspect of what we do is, I think people might not know how much value you can actually get even from like even if you just have, so basically to go back, one question we get a lot from people is like, oh, I only have this one really bad quality cell phone camera that my friend took from the shore of me trying to pop up. Like, that's not good enough for you to do a video review. Or I just have this one bad quality photo of me trying, like falling over. I think people would actually be surprised by how much information we can gain from even that one poor quality video or that one poor quality photo of you falling. There's a lot of, especially at the beginner level, like very minor nuances that we can see. Maybe you have both hands on this side of the rail and that's why you're falling over that way. Or maybe we see that the nose of the board is sticking out so much like this, so we can see you have so much back foot pressure. So even those things that somebody, you're just looking at the photo and you're like, oh, this isn't good. Like, this isn't good enough for somebody to give me feedback on. It really might be like, we can tell so much from just that one photo or just that one video.
Sounds like you're the surf coach.
I was literally just about to say, I think you've sold yourself short at the start here. You a lot more than what you're leading on.
Well, basically I lived at this surf camp with Jordy, and I went to, when we were first starting to like date and see each other, I would go to every one of his photo reviews and video reviews. I like moved to this camp and would just sit there and like watch him all the time. So really took in a lot of information there.
But one thing that stood out on my website, like when we're talking video analysis, we're talking photo analysis, goal setting. Now, there's so many people that like just surf. If they like, I don't know, if they need to take it to the next level or want to take it to the next level, the goal setting side of things really spoke to me. So like, that's a good sort of avenue to go down as well, just to book a one-on-one, just to sort of see where you're at.
Yeah, I guess it's exactly like you say, it's like all about where your intentions are and what you're willing to prioritize. And I feel like a lot of people just maybe are either unsure or like, it's always like that. Like, I feel like if I go to the gym as an example, if I take like the class at the gym, then I'm going to go super hard. But if I end up going to the gym by myself, like chances are I'm going to do half a workout and I'm never, ever going to get it done. So yeah, I guess it's just also having that person, like making sure that you're achieving what you want to achieve as well.
So as a surf coach, and like Kimberly, jump in as well. Biggest mistake you see a beginner make for surfing?
Oh man. I would say like overall, people like it's hard because like a lot of the people that come to the camp, and that's where I've done most of my coaching, is they end up coming to the camp having had a few lessons and stuff like that, and all they want to do, man, is like drop down in size of board as quickly as they can. And like now, while as I like advocate for that, I'm like, whatever you want to do, you do it as long as you're going to do it properly. But like, then what ends up happening is they end up going with the coach and getting pushed into all of these waves. And then when they leave the camp, they just kind of sit and they're like, oh no, but now they're like reliant on the coach. And that's literally like the whole reason we came up with the independent surfer, is to help people gain their independence and not have to sit with the coach. And yeah, I would say like overall, that's probably the biggest mistake that I see beginner surfers make. And then, yeah, if you're getting into like nuances of different movements and the pop-up and paddling and stuff like that, what would you say?
For sure, looking down at the surfboard. I think for every photo review, so a little bit of background, I actually started surfing at this surf camp back in 2016 before Jordy worked there. So they actually taught me how to surf before Jordy went there, went back 2 years later, met Jordy. But during that session, and then during those whole few other years that I lived there, the biggest thing, every photo review, everybody's looking down at their surfboard when they're standing up. I would say I hadn't seen one beginner come through that camp that was looking down the line where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
Everybody looking either down at the surfboard, down at their hands, or looking down at the bottom of the wave. I think it's so natural, you know, you're standing up and you're like, oh, this is so wobbly. Why am I putting my foot here? Is the board still under me? But the biggest thing that we were all doing during my camp was being told, look down the line, look at the boat, look down the line. I think that's the biggest change. Everybody, after 2 weeks, once they started focusing on that, looking down the line, we were able to go down the face of the wave and actually start to make progress. And it matters a lot more for faster waves too. The faster the wave, the more important it'll be to have that.
Yeah, that's good advice, guys. So my next question is going to be a tricky one, but hopefully we can kind of work this out. So prices for how much these courses cost.
Yeah, that is a tricky question because we've been up and down and figuring it out. Right now it's pretty expensive. It's at $180 a course, and that's because like there's so much information and it took us a very long time with a lot of effort to make it. But a little bit of insight, we're looking to actually change it to a subscription service. And we haven't figured out a price for that, but it will be the last chance pretty much this next month for people to be able to buy the course outright and have lifetime access, because that's one of the biggest reasons as well we've made the price $180 US, is because they'll be able to buy the course one time and have lifetime access. Like they'll never, and we'll be continuously adding and updating to the course. So yeah, but
yeah, if you have any, I don't know, if you have any feedback, what you think of our prices or subscription model, we'd love to hear, because we're still at that stage of figuring out, you know, what people like. And
yeah, well, like personally, I love just buying something and owning it. So like that's how I look at it. But the subscription as well could be a cheap way to sort of enter in and, you know, do a couple of modules and sort of get a feel for it. So I suppose that would all depend on the individual. But I noticed you have like a free course to start off with, just to get the feelers out of like a bit of the history of surfing.
Yeah. So we're actually busy changing the history a little bit. We've done like some pretty detailed videos, so it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more entertaining. It's before it was just reading, but so that'll be coming out pretty soon. And there are some sections of the course that are also free, where people can kind of like go through and get some information and like kind of get a feel for what we offer. And like so people can take a little bit more than just the history, but kind of touch on each section, a little bit of each section to
we wanted people to be able to, you know, see who we were and what the videos are going to look like, and, you know, log into the actual course portal, see what that's going to feel like, and if it's right for them. You know,
they'll be able to take it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's like you guys, it's your faces, it's your like your brand, your everything. That's the best part, that you're in there and it's not just automated. It's not just like a computer showing you stuff. It's real people who actually surf, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for that, man.
No worries. So what's the most rewarding part about getting this all together?
Having it done. There was a long time there where we were like felt like we were never going to see the end of it coming to fruition. But I mean, besides that, I think it's just having the feedback of people saying like that the course has helped them, or like being in awe of how detailed the course was, because that was one of our biggest goals when making the course, is adding a lot of detail and kind of going on over as much information as we possibly can. And I feel like sometimes, you know, especially in the surfing world, like it's not frowned upon, but it's like, it's not really like, it's not accepted, but you know, like surfing's always had this like idea of like the cool guy, or do you know what I mean? I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that.
So like I started this thing as well, and my theory was, especially as like a male, and you know, females as well, but as a male, if you're in the surf, you're kind of expected to be able to surf. if you like don't know how to surf, then you kind of like, it's not really like, it's frowned upon type of thing. That's how I kind of felt. I kind of felt like you needed to know everything. You needed to have the right equipment, the right answers. So I started like this platform for people to ask their questions and sort of reach out if they did have any surf questions in like the comfort of their own home. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it is a bit intimidating, like for a beginner, like especially the females, like, but yeah, like it can be intimidating, and it's good to have that prior knowledge before getting into the water. That's my thoughts anyway.
Yeah, like don't even get me started on the whole like prejudice that people have towards people who are learning. It's crazy, man. Like we recently put out some videos on Instagram, and they're getting quite a bit of traction. And like it's just crazy also because you know, like I've been teaching for a long time. I've been surfing for even longer and stuff. And so like I feel pretty confident to be able to put out these videos. But then even then we're getting all these comments from a lot of people like that are, you know, like telling us off, telling us like we have no idea what we're talking about.
Or discouraging people from surfing. We have like a whole thread on, we have this one video done crazy, I would say for us went viral, our definition of viral at least, this whole thread on this video where people are saying, don't surf, it sucks. Don't teach people to surf. We don't want new people to learn how to surf and stuff. So that's just, it's so discouraging to hear. And like, we absolutely discourage that kind of behavior and animosity towards beginners and learning. It's such a shame that you have to go out there and feel that way. Like, feel like, oh, I have to look like I know what I'm doing. I think maybe that's even where this idea of a kook comes from, right? Because you feel like you have to know what you're doing and you have to look cool in order to be accepted. And then people make fun of you even for that. So that's something we don't love about this.
Yeah. But it's really nice. It's really nice to see people like you as well. Like, you know, trying to help other people like get better at surfing and feel a little bit more comfortable and accepted in the community. Because so I also feel like, you know, like after researching all the history of surfing and adding that to our course, like you kind of start to understand why it all happened and where it all came from. But it's just, I don't know, man, like surfing's always been this like, oh, you know, you're supposed to be relaxed and you're supposed to be you know, it's supposed to be like a humbling experience where you're able to connect with Mother Nature and other people and stuff. But really, like a lot of people within the community are just not like portraying that. So it's really nice to see that there are a lot of people that are.
Yeah. My favorite is it's a 1 foot day, 2 foot day. And you always get those people that are so like angry. You're like, mate, I'm not cutting in on your 6 foot barrels. Like like people are learning to surf. It's 1 foot. The conditions are appropriate for a beginner.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that burns me up, mate, for sure.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So what would you say to someone that's sort of a bit unsure about doing it? What's your sales pitch to get them over the line to sign up?
Well, from a very logical standpoint, it's like the greatest exercise you can do while still having fun. Like I think that like, you know, like just being able to go out, being in the sunshine is like super important for your health overall. And then from my side, from a much more eccentric perspective, like the connection that you get with yourself, you know, because like surfing is one of those things that you're just like you're fully indulging in yourself, especially if you're able to if you really want to progress. And that kind of like feeling of like accomplishment and stuff like can really spill over into everyday life if you feel like you're down and out, or if you're having a bad time, or if you feel like, you know, things are just tough, or even if they're not, like it's just a great way of fun, and being able to do it well that much in the beginning.
Yeah, so I think for the course, just, you know, having that solid foundation, being able to have the confidence. Are you still able to hear me?
Yeah, it cut out a little bit, but I got the most of it.
Cool.
So to go back then to what I was saying, I think being able to just have that confidence that you have all of this knowledge, like basically you have 10 years, 20 years of surfing information. You have all this knowledge, and from the course, you're ready to go out there and you have this confidence. You don't have to feel like a total beginner when you're going in the water. Being able to just have that confidence will make you a better surfer and will make it a much more enjoyable experience overall.
Yeah.
You said a bit earlier about like the price point with that sort of 180 sort of tossing up. I found that as well, if you are like on the fence, sort of unsure, you can buy your modules individually. So if there's a surfer out there that, you know, wants to get more paddle power or wants to sort of be a bit more stable on the board, they can just buy that module and sort of save the money and the time, and, you know, might not be interested in the history of surfing, but really can hone down on a whole section itself. So that is also very cool that you're doing that as well.
Yeah, we figured exactly like you said, you know, like not everybody is working on everything all the time. So we felt, yeah, exactly, like we felt like it would be good to give people the option to purchase each section as they needed it. And then again, like it's not set on our website, but like once you make that purchase, you know, like you can go back to it as often as you want, and like kind of review what you were doing before. Oh man, I had another thought there about it, but I can't remember. it's so
You're
gone.
looking at me like I know. Sorry,
it's gone. Oh no, I had this thought about but yeah, it's exactly like you said, you know, it's everybody's working on something different, and not everybody needs to learn the history of surfing. It's not it's not going to help you get better at surfing. So yeah, made it possible for people to purchase separately.
And like you said too, you're still updating your content as well. So if someone does buy that course and wants to learn how to pop up, say, and then in 6 months' time they go, oh, like I want to go revise it, that course could have changed slightly and had better videos, better like, yeah. So people should just keep an eye on that too if they do make that sort of purchase.
Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out. We got new microphones, new cameras as we learned through the experience of it. So we're so hard at work updating everything all the time. And we just want to make it the best that it can be and be like a really good reflection of the information that's within that.
Yeah. So I think also like it allows us to work, like kind of like indirectly work with people who are taking the course, you know, if there's something that they feel that's missing, or if there's something that they feel like they want to add to the course that would make it better, we're like actively trying to reach out to people and figure out, you know, how we can make it better. Because like Kim said, like all we want to do is make it the best possible thing that it could be. And, you know, if because I feel like in surfing also, you know, it's not like mathematics or science. You know, it's not like very factual, and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about how you should do things. I mean, obviously we think that our opinion is correct, but we're definitely open to interpretation. And so if somebody comes to us and says to us like, look, you guys are doing the wrong thing, we'll go through and try and review what it is, and if we fully agree, then for sure we'll be able to change it to be what the right thing is, you know.
Yeah, at least you'll go home and do your research to, like you said, validate that you've done the right course or you've done the right foot positioning and stuff like that. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
So what's planned for the future, guys?
Well, in terms of the independent surfer, we're definitely coming out with like an intermediate and advanced course. And as we said before, both intermediate and then after that, an advanced course. And as you said before, or as we said before, that we'll be constantly updating the course. It's actually interesting. I have a friend here who's he's a bit of a motivational speaker and stuff, and he had like a really bad skydiving accident a while back, and started like this idea, and we're talking about potentially doing our own podcast and stuff that's related to surf therapy. So like how, you know, people's experiences and how they've used surfing as a way to overcome negative emotions or like bad times in their life, or, you know, beat drug addiction and stuff like that. Because we know quite a few people that have had those experiences. So that's another thing like I wanted to touch on is like, yeah, like surfing can really help you in so many ways that it's like not even, you know, like it's helped me like in just to be able to like structure things, set goals, you know, figure out like, yeah, there's just so many things that can spill over from surfing into your life that can make it much better. But yeah, and then I think hopefully one day, once we've built a house and stuff, we would like to try and host people and kind of do our own camps through that. Yeah. And then maybe, who knows, eventually surf camp here in Lombok. But that's just like a future idea that we've kind of thought about, spoken about, and that's like a maybe, you know. So yeah.
No, I like it. And if you need any podcast advice, reach out. I'm definitely not the best, but I like pride myself on reaching out. Like, so yeah, if you want to start something, let me know. We'll definitely collaborate and talk about it for sure.
That'll be amazing, man. We're like, it's great because we've been surfing for so long, you know, it's hard to feel like a beginner in something. And this is definitely something we're like total beginners in. So it'll be great to have a bit of insight and some knowledge like from you for sure, man. That'll be great.
And I'm massive on saltwater therapy. I've done a couple of episodes, one with Grant, the owner of Fluoro Friday. It's a mental health sort of, I'll send it to you. Like, such a great episode about how like just being in the salt water can, you know, help your mental health. And I've also done another one with like surf veterans down this way who, you know, they also do the same. They come back with post-traumatic stress and stuff like that. And there's this surf camp here that teaches them how to surf, and like it really helps with their mental health as well. So yeah, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, really cool. I got idea what you're doing, and definitely jump at it if you want to do it for sure.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we'll definitely, would love to see that that episode, and yeah, we'll definitely be in touch about advice because we definitely need it. Yeah.
So let's plug the socials now. So Independent Surfer, that's the Instagram page. Everyone should give that a follow and have a look. Heaps of free surf advice there for sure. You're pumping out some content.
Yeah. Every day. We also have a YouTube channel called The Independent Surfer as well. It's all under the same name, and it also gives pretty much like, it's, you know, it's like the advice on Instagram is great, and it works well inside of Instagram's format. But if you really want to get deep down into a lot of like good information, I think our YouTube channel is like got a lot more detailed stuff. So yeah, and then what else?
I mean, the actual website itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So you can check our website out at www.independentsurfer.com, again under the same name, and yeah, you can take the free trial and join our community and be a part of the movement of learning to surf and claiming that surf independence. And
you've been pretty generous, and you give them, like, my listeners and community 10% off if they sign up with the promo code Kooks are cool, cool with a K, 10. No, Kooks are cool 10 with Kook with a cool with a K. Sorry, a bit of a tongue twister, that one.
It is hard. It is super hard.
But yeah, like any listeners that are keen, sign up, 10% off. How good's that?
Yeah, and as we said before, like, you know, like you said, you're somebody who likes to be able to buy something and have it forever. I think we've pretty much made the decision to leave that for the last month. We're still kind of figuring out if we should give it as an option in the future, but yeah, this will be the last month for you to be able to purchase it and have access for life
forever. So if we do switch to when we do switch to the subscription model, you'll be locked in on that lifetime access regardless of the changes going forward.
Yep.
So everyone should act now and jump on quick before that transition.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I got one last question for both of yous, and then yeah, we'll call it a day. So what does surfing mean to you?
Do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. So surfing, I guess, to me, my favorite thing about it, the reason I fell in love with it, is because it really gets me off the phone. It gets me off the computer. It gets me outside just doing something, and you're really, really like, you can't be anywhere else when that wave's coming at you, when you're wiping out, when you're on a wave, you're just there. I struggle with things I come from a very like high pressure background in the corporate world. So to just have that time to go out and not think about anything else, not be scrolling, not be worrying that I have to do something more. It really just calms me down and it gives me that time to yeah, it just lets me relax basically.
Yeah. So my background's a little bit different to Kim's, but for me, it's always been like self-progression. I just feel like every time you go out there, you know, you're trying to get better at it, and you're so humbled by the process that because you can just never reach the end. So yeah, for me, it's really about just having something to work on all the time and analyze, kind of get into the nitty gritty, like, oh, why weren't you able to do this, or why weren't you able to do that? And then also, like, I guess like Kim said, you know, it takes you so many places. And so I feel like it's just like adventure aspect as well, like being able to go on the surf, no matter the conditions, no matter how you feel, like just getting yourself out of your comfort zone and pushing the boundary.
Awesome, guys. Both very different answers, but both very much on the same path. So it's really cool. So yeah, thank you so much for, you know, catching up and giving me some time. To all my listeners, reach out, send me a message if you want to ask any questions. I've done most of the course. I'm still flicking through, but yeah, it's really cool, and definitely give you a follow on Instagram for all those cool little videos and YouTube channel and all that jazz like we spoke about before. But thanks, guys, for sitting down and having a chat.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for having us, dude. We're super appreciative of taking the time to chat with us and share a story. And yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
No worries at all. No worries at all, guys.